I won't wear it, Teddy. I'll resign first. Well, tell me, what the hell does she know about the Prince organisation?
She was married to it, lad. For 15 years. That can't have been easy, I'm sure.
Easy? For her, it was a bloody picnic. Don gave her every damn thing she asked for.
Oh, that was the past, Ronnie. Yesterday's bloody news. Now she wants to put something back. Let her get on with it.
All right, she can work here, if that's what you mean.
She can work here. You're damn right she can work here. Face facts, lad. Mrs. Davinia Prince owns 5% of this company in her own right and controls another 22% by virtue of the trust set up for her by her late husband. She's a director of the company and a trustee of the Prince Foundation, and it's her name and her son's flying up the masthead. Work here. If that woman wanted to stand in that corner stark naked and you were offended, the most you could ask for and get would be a pair of dark glasses. Or a bloody camera. That may not seem right by your way of thinking, but it's the way it is.
None of that can stop me resigning. And who's going to run the company then?
Well, I thought we'd get round to that. It'll be hard, I'll not deny it, but not one half as hard as it'll be for you.
There are plenty of things I can do, plenty of things.
Normally, that would be so. You've got a good name, Ronnie, and deservedly. But if you walk out now, you'll have no name at all. Or at any rate, none you'll want to call your own. You'll be crucified, lad. And I'll tell you this for nothing. I'll be the first one up there to bang in the spikes.
But you supported me. You voted against her.
I did. And if necessary, I'd do it again. But we lost, didn't we? Fair and square. Now it's time to look to the future. Davinia Prince must have a chance.
As joint managing director.
Oh, it's hard, I'll grant you that. But you're the one in charge, Ronnie. You're the chief executive of the company.
What's in a name?
Oh, we're not playing games, lad. There are other shareholders to think of, too.
Poor sods.
Well, maybe not. But in any event, there's work to be done. For a start, there's Brick End. How about it, Ronnie?
We'll get the green light today, I'm sure of it.
Well, it's time those red tape merchants got off their backsides. And now Don's gone, you're the one to make them jump. Well, that is, of course, if you stay.
If I go, I get crucified. If I stay, I get... What, Terry?
My support for a start on anything that's reasonable. You can count on it.
Thank you.
Then let's have no more talk of resigning. I'll not have Don's company go to the knacker's yard just because his widow wants to work here. Now, whatever trouble there is between you and Davinia, Ronnie, if there is trouble, forget about it. There's a job to do. I'm late again. I'll never learn. Keep in touch.
Thank you, Charlotte. Mrs. Prince still here, Annie?
Yes, she is, Mr. Barfoot.
Is it all right if I go in?
I'm sure it is.
Thank you.
Come in. Hello.
Oh. Hello. I thought we might have a talk if you've finished lunch.
I'd like that, Ronnie, and I'm just on my way out to see Bobby Anderson.
Well, there's no hurry. Do you mind telling me why you're seeing Bobby?
Not a bit. As you probably know, Scottish and English are considering selling their holding in the Prince organisation.
No, I didn't know. How on earth did you find out?
Anderson told me last week. I'm sorry, I should have let you know, but there were so many other things. I want to persuade Anderson to hold off until Brick End is cleared up. I'm sure you'll agree that 8 million of our shares on the market wouldn't be too helpful just now.
No, do you want me to come with you?
All right, if you like, but I was... Hello? Yes, he is. It's for you, Ronnie.
Okay. Hello? Oh, hello, Brian. I see. Can you tell me why? All right, I'll speak to you later, yes. Council. They've postponed their final decision on Brick End for another 4 weeks.
For God's sake, why?
Brian Harmon says they're requesting additional information.
From us?
Of course not. They had everything months ago. No, from the Tenants Association. Something to do with the scheduled improvements. The Tenants Association want the council to speed up the improvements if they buy the development.
But what has that got to do with us?
But it might cost more money than the Finance Committee are willing to approve.
So our sale gets held up again. Anderson will get even more worried and definitely decide to put the holding on the market. The bloody bureaucrats.
Red tape merchants.
We have to do something, Ronnie. Look, I must fly. Are you coming?
No, I think I'll try and find out a bit more about the council's problems, but I do think we should talk, Davinia.
So do I, Ronnie. Oh, well, perhaps later.
May I be quite frank, Mrs. Prince? Off the record, of course.
Please.
4 weeks will not make much difference to us.
Thank you.
Oh, the shares may go up and down a penny or two. But as long as we know that neither you nor the Prince Foundation intend to put your shares on the market, well, we shall be all right. And, of course, we won't be selling ours either. You can count on that.
Good. Of course, I'm not empowered to speak for the Foundation, Mr. Anderson, but I think that I can guarantee that they won't be selling from anyone on our side either.
My dear Mrs. Prince, there's absolutely no need for guarantees. No need at all. Now, the question we must ask ourselves is, will the next 4 weeks turn into 6 or 8 or 4 months?
I don't see how it can possibly go on much longer. They've been at it for 6 months already.
Exactly my point, Mrs. Prince. They have been at it for 6 months. And we've no deadline. So, where's the pressure on them to move faster?
The deadline was never a part of the original discussions, Mr. Anderson. Don always said that deadlines were for journalists, not businessmen.
Aye, he was right, too. But are the people you are dealing with businessmen? Or are they bureaucrats pretending to be businessmen?
I don't know.
No more do I.
Do you think we should ask for a deadline?
The only deadline that's worth a row of beans is when some other fellow wants the same thing you do, and if you don't move faster than he does, you lose it. Competition. It concentrates the mind and money wonderfully.
You have a nice turn of phrase, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. I always say we Scots are much underrated when it comes to eloquence and overrated when it comes to meanness.
Only by the English, I'm sure.
Oh, aye, the damn Sassenachs. Now, where were we?
On competition.
Oh, aye, competition. It's a very pretty notion.
What you really mean is that if there were another buyer for Brickend, the council would have a deadline forced on them.
Exactly so, Mrs. Prince.
Brickend isn't on the market.
No. But is there any reason why it shouldn't be? Discreetly, of course.
It would be very difficult for us. We do too much business with the council to risk upsetting them.
Aye, we all do. They are the property tycoons these days. But suppose we had a word, off the record, with 1 or 2 of the agents. There may be nothing in it, but on the other hand, who can be sure?
Did you have anyone particular in mind?
Well, that would be up to you, of course, and to Ronnie. But I would suggest you have a word with that young man from Beaumont's, Dougie Taylor.
All right. But let me have a talk to Ronnie about it first.
Of course, Ronnie may not be too happy with the idea of competition. He doesn't like to upset anyone. I'll have a word with Dougie anyhow, just in case you decide to speak to him. Put him in the picture.
Thank you.
Not at all. Dougie's an amusing character. I think he's what the Americans would call a hustler. But he does a good job for his clients. And life's never dull when he's around. Goodbye, Mrs. Prince.
Goodbye, Mr. Anderson.
Will you get me Beaumont's on the line, Sarah? Dougie Taylor.
Hello, hello. Hello? Richard, what on earth are you doing here? Is everything all right?
Mommy, look at this, what's happened.
What's happened,
Paul
darling?
fainted just like that.
Oh.
And if Grandad hadn't been standing right there, he would have cracked his skull open on the fireplace.
Here, now, Emma.
That's what you said, Grandad. He would have cracked his skull like an eggshell.
He's quite all right, my dear, but he did faint. I think he must have been overdoing things.
Oh,
Grandad saved his life, didn't you, Grandad?
Oh, come now, Emma. It'd have been fine anyway, Davinia.
can I see you?
Yes, of course.
Can I come too?
No, you cannot. I'll see you later. What a welcome. Oh, darling, how are you feeling?
Sick.
What do you think it was? Something you ate?
I should let him sleep now. Perhaps a little light supper later.
All right, I'll tell Gwyneth. You rest there, darling. Will you have a drink?
Thank you.
Stay a few moments.
I'd like to. Sherry, if I may.
Thank you for coming so quickly. I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, Eddie phoned you at the office, but you'd gone.
Meetings. I remember when Don used to say that he was at a meeting. I'd never really believe him. I always thought he was with some girl.
Now you know, they actually do happen.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, that was quite a performance you gave this morning. I was glad to be on the winning side.
So was I. What happened to Paul?
You must promise not to say I told you.
I promise.
Well, it seems that he and a friend called Harry got hold of a box of Don's best Havana cigars and smoked them.
All of them?
Paul won, Harry too.
Oh.
With the natural result, they were both extremely ill.
Boys will be boys.
Indeed they will. Thank God.
I should have been here, shouldn't I, Richard?
Oh, my dear. It would have made the slightest difference. In all probability, Paul would have smoked the same cigar and fainted.
But what if Eddie hadn't been there to catch him? He could have been killed.
But Eddie was there, and there's an end to it. Davinia, if you're going to blame yourself for everything that happens when you're not here, you won't last a week.
Perhaps I should give it up.
Oh.
Be a housewife again. It's only my own ego I'm feeding, isn't it?
Egos are hungry beasts. They need feeding. Yours was starved far too long. The real question is, will you like it at the Prince organization?
Oh, Richard, I love it already. I feel that, well, I'm alive again. And I accept I don't know very much. But I do have a feel for business. I'm sure that I have. I promise. You'll be proud of me.
Oh, no, I shall.
Come in. Oh, Gwyneth, will you tell Paul I'll try to be back for lunch and that I hope he's feeling better?
Yes, Mrs. Prince.
Oh, and give Emma a kiss for me.
Oh, Mrs. Prince.
Yes,
Will it be all right if I take this Saturday off? There's some things need doing.
of course. Will you tell Eddie?
Yes, Mrs. Prince. Where are you going?
Why aren't you asleep?
Where are you going?
Something I want to see before I go to the office.
Daddy was always going to the office, wasn't he? You sound just like he used to. Granddad's taking me to the zoo.
Good. Mind you don't get taken for a monkey.
I'm not a monkey.
Mrs. Prince?
Yes?
I'm Dougie Taylor. Bobby Anderson may have mentioned me.
Oh, yes.
Bit of a coincidence, really, you and me being out here like this. Cigarette?
No, thank you.
Good girl. Never touching myself. Got enough trouble without that lot. Showcase. It's your first time out here?
Yes.
I was here last night talking to the people who live in them. Same thing this morning. It's the best way. If they don't complain too much, you know there's nothing seriously wrong.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Do they like the flats?
Yeah, they do, as a matter of fact. Had a word with the president of the Tenants Association. He seemed quite keen.
You haven't wasted much time.
No. I've got these clients, you see. A Jersey trust. They're looking for a home for some of their ill-gotten gains, and I thought this might be the place.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, well, don't get too carried away, Mrs. Prince. Have to see how the figures add up. You know, return on capital investment, all that sort of malarkey. Still, might work out. How's your cup of tea?
Why not?
Parched myself. Up half the night on the razzle, then here just after 7. No rest for the wicked, I suppose. Mind if I have a go? Never driven a roller. Always wanted to, though.
All right.
So,
Didn't come out here by car then?
no, it's in the shop. Had a bit of a rumble. Argument with a lamppost. Nothing to worry about, Mrs. Prince.
Why don't you try slowing down?
Yeah. I just get a kick out of driving this thing. Still, the law can get a bit heavy round here. I've been done more than once myself.
Do you live round here?
Not anymore. Can't tell a client with a few million quid to spend you live out in Harlesden, can you? Silly sort of think he was dealing with rubbish. No. I live in Mayfair now.
Showcase?
Yeah, right. There. Best cupper in town, yeah?
He said he had some trust fund in Jersey who might be interested, so he wants all the figures. That's all I can tell you.
We can send them, of course, but I can't help feeling a little nervous. I suppose the council find out.
At this moment, what's more important, keeping the council happy or selling Brick End?
One's as important as the other. We can't ignore our future business relationship with them.
Anderson telephoned me when I got back. Dougie had already been on to him. From the way he was talking, I got the impression that we must sell if the Jersey people make a reasonable offer.
Bobby Anderson can't make us do anything. All he can do is suggest.
With the proviso that if we don't, he'll sell his shares.
Who's selling what shares? Davinia? Ronnie?
Bobby Anderson.
Oh, yes, he just telephoned. Wanted my confirmation that the foundation does not intend selling its shares in the Prince organization. Said he'd asked you the same thing.
Yes.
Damn cheek. I told him we were thinking of buying some. That shut him up pretty quick. What's it all about?
The council have postponed their decision on Brick End for another 4 weeks.
Oh, have they?
Bobby told Davinia he thinks we should put Brick End on the market, force the council's hand.
Well, that could be a bit tricky. I'm all for forcing the beggar's hand, but they get sensitive if things go wrong.
There might be another buyer through Beaumont's.
Oh, who's handling it there, Chapel?
Dougie Taylor.
Don't know. What sort of a fellow is he? Can we trust him to be discreet?
His reputation is that his loyalty lies where the big money is. He's very ambitious. He likes to make a good impression.
Might be just our man.
I don't know. The council's Labour now, and Dougie is, or pretends to be, staunch socialist. He might feel a conflict of interest.
Not so good?
He didn't seem bothered by any conflict this morning. He must have known about the council when he mentioned the Jersey Trust Fund.
Well, I think it's true to say that he is one of those Labour supporters who prefer to make their friends among the rich and successful.
Oh, man of conviction.
A diplomat, anyway. He told me at the last election he voted Labour, but helped drive Conservative voters to the polling station because the Conservative candidate was a friend of his.
He didn't.
Ask him the next time you see him. He's proud of it.
Ronnie, why don't you have a word with him? See if he can live up to his reputation as a diplomat.
All right. Davinia?
Why not?
Enjoying yourself?
Very much.
Good. I thought we might have dinner again one night.
I'd like that. Have you forgiven me?
Completely. Saturday evening suit you?
Yes, you're not going down to the country.
No, not this weekend. I was at our one-parent family centre this morning. I thought perhaps you might put in an appearance there sometime.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, they need a bit of help over the next few weeks. I don't know if you'll be interested.
I don't think so, Clive. Not yet. I have my own one-parent family to think of, and all this.
Yeah, but you will look in one day.
Yes.
All right. Oh, a word of advice. Don't go too quickly here. Try not to run before you can walk.
A tightrope?
Oh, yeah. Something like that.
I'm glad to see you're feeling better. What did Dr. Montague say?
A remarkable recovery.
May I excuse Mummy?
Have you finished?
I'll look in a minute.
Thank you.
Mum,
What?
would it be okay if I went and stayed with Aunt Catherine for a bit?
If she'll have you, of course you can.
Well, it's near to the school and everything, and I could get my bearings for next term.
Go and ring her. Go on. She's got 2 boys about Paul's age.
Davinia, I've been thinking, you know, I ought to be moving along, you know. Get a job, settle down in my own place.
Why?
Well, in a couple of weeks, Tom and Paul will be gone away. And Emma, too.
Oh, we'll all be so sorry to see you go.
I'll be sorry too. It's been grand, you know. I shan't go far. I'd like to stay close by.
What will you do?
I don't know. I'll pop down to the Labour Exchange in a few days' time and see what's happening there.
The foundation needs some help at the day centre. Would that interest you?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm too old for that sort of thing.
Well, will you go and see them? I'll fix it if you like.
I don't really know. I mean, do you think they'd be interested? I mean, with my background and all. I haven't got much of a record as a family man, have I?
Will you try?
I'll try.
Things aren't always how they seem, are they? Know what I mean?
No.
Look, it's like this. Supposing I take a bit of trouble, chat up my people in Jersey, get them all excited. They make an offer, and wallop. You tell your friends in the council where it's at, and they say, OK, you got us over a barrel, we'll make the deal.
So?
So, where's Dougie? Suddenly I've got a lot of hopped-up investors in the Channel Islands moving like Jersey cows because they've got nothing to invest in, and I've got no commission to take home.
You don't think there's any way you can persuade your people to make an offer?
Not without a guarantee of acceptance if they meet the asking price. They're not going to enter into an auction. I wouldn't let them.
You want a guarantee on all 3 blocks of flats?
On 1 or 2 or 3. Pick a number.
I'm sorry, Dougie, you know we can't make any guarantees.
Neither can I. It stands to reason.
There must be a way to satisfy everyone, Ronnie.
I wish I knew it.
Perhaps there is, but we mustn't lose sight of our long-term association with the council.
Or theirs with us.
No. I've got an idea. Strictly off the record, of course.
Go on.
You really want to sell to the council, right?
Yes, we do.
But from what Bobby Anderson says, you can't afford to wait much longer. Balance sheets, liquidity, etc.
We want to conclude things. Yes, they've been in the works a long time.
Right. Here's what we do. You sell 1 block to me, definite. When the deal for that goes through, you give me an option on the other 2, if they haven't been sold already. I get my commission, the Jersey cows are satisfied, and the council has a deadline to beat if they don't want to lose the lot. How about that?
If that were acceptable to the board, how long before you could make a firm offer?
Like the Boy Scouts, I always come prepared. That's the offer. Not to be open till Christmas, or at least until your board agrees to the arrangement.
But how do we know the offer is high enough until we read your proposal?
Now, Mrs. Prince, do I look like the sort of bloke who's going to make a mistake like that?
No, not really.
Thank you.
We'll let you know tomorrow, Dougie. Thank you for your help.
My pleasure.
You can't.
I'd be a fool if I didn't. We're not playing Monopoly. It's all there. We'll meet in the morning.
I still think it would be simpler and more expedient to accept the Jersey Trust's offer for all 3 blocks and be done with it.
Jerry? Well, there's no doubt it would be simpler, but more expedient. I don't think so. No, we must give the council fair warning and a fair chance to buy the other 2 blocks. I must agree with Ronnie.
Yes, I think I do too, Davinia. Jersey gets 1 block, and the council, if they get off their backsides, get 2. And we get our money. And after all these months, I can't think of a more equitable solution. So, apart from Mrs. Prince, does anyone doubt this is the way we should proceed? Ronnie, I suggest you go ahead.
Good. I've set up a meeting with the council's finance committee. Of course, they don't know what about.
I'd dearly love to see Wilf Gorman's face. He'll go mad.
Yes, probably. Now, is there anything else? No? Then the meeting is closed.
Should I report a vote, Clive?
Oh, I don't think that's necessary. Simply record that a motion to proceed was carried.
Things looking up a bit, Clive. I don't imagine the council will agree.
Yeah. A lot of righteous indignation. Why don't you take Davinia with you? It would be a good experience for her. And then if she's there and something goes wrong, she can't have cause to complain, can she? Oh, well, it is a chairman's job to keep them balanced.
All right, I'll ask her.
Good. This fellow from Beaumont.
Dougie Taylor.
Better keep an eye on him. He might be useful to us.
Eddie said he'd like to try, so could you have a word with that woman, Richard? What's her name?
Mrs. Francis. She's a pretty tough old bird, you know.
Eddie's tough, too.
All right.
Hello, Clive.
Davinia, Richard.
Bye, madam.
Bye-bye, Richard.
What's all that about dear old Mrs. Francis?
I want Eddie to talk to her, see if there's something he can do at the day centre. You said they needed help, didn't you?
Oh, yes, they do indeed. Would you like me to have a word with her? I think she rather likes me.
Why don't we let Richard? I mustn't allow myself to become too dependent on you, Clive. I must lean on others, too.
Oh, I do hope that doesn't mean that you've changed your mind about Saturday.
Good heavens, no. I'm not that independent. Not yet.
I'm delighted to hear it.
Davinia, I wondered if you'd come with me to the council on Monday. Show a united front.
Thank you. I'd like that very much.
Mr. Anderson's on the phone for you, Mrs. Prince. Shall I say or ring him back?
No, I'll speak to him. Thank you, Mr. Tatum.
Excuse me.
Here endeth the first lesson.
Hello, Mrs. Prince. I thank you for speaking to me. No, it's nothing important, really. I just wanted to tell you that Dougie's told me his Jersey people have made the offer. I'm very pleased for you.
Thank you. We're pleased, too. Very pleased.
Dougie was very impressed by your grasp of things. He's a smart lad, is Dougie. He doesn't miss much.
I'm very flattered, Mr. Anderson.
Aye, well. Hey, when did you say you were meeting with the council?
Monday afternoon.
Good. Now, don't let them bully you now. And if I can be of any help at all, you let me know.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You're not used to it, little devils. You're Mr. Eddie Prince, I suppose.
I am, yes.
I thought it was you. You look a bit like dear Don if you scrape away the years. Come up, Mr. Prince, come up. We've had tea, so I can't offer you a cup. We try to make only one brew of a morning.
Oh, I understand.
Sit down, Mr. Prince. Dr. Montague tells me there's some chance you might give us a hand.
Well, I thought I want to get stuck into something. And Davinia, Mrs. Prince, that is, she said she thought I might be able to help you out.
Good. We're hoping Mrs. Prince will come down here herself, but, well, she'll have her plate full just now. Tell me about yourself.
Well,
I'm not after your darkest secrets, Mr. Prince. Just some facts. Dr. Montague said you were at sea for a time.
Yes.
Then you won't have had much time with children.
No.
Dr. Montague tells me that you and young Emma have become firm friends.
Oh, yes, it's a great kitty, that one.
Are you sure you want to help us out, Mr. Prince? What I mean is, if you're seeing me just because you're Don's father and you're staying with the family and feel obliged, well, it wouldn't work out now, would it? Not for you, not for the children, and not for me. Why don't I tell Dr. Montague we must have someone with a bit more experience of children? That would do it, wouldn't it? Well, thanks for coming along anyway.
Well, I'd like to help Mrs. Francis, really, I would, but I don't think I'm right for this sort of thing.
Why not?
Well, when Don became rich and he started the foundation, it was because he came from a one-parent family.
I know that.
I ran away from him and his mother. I left Don when he was a baby. Didn't see them again. Didn't help much either. Well, I sent his mother a pound or two now and again. And when he became a celebrity, I tried to see him. I read about him in the papers quite a lot, you know. But never would see me. He made out that I was dead.
So you don't think you'd be much use to us here, is that it?
That's about the size of it, yes.
I don't agree, Mr. Prince. More than most of us, you know what it means for a child to be left without a father. You feel it strongly. I'd like to have you here.
What if the children asked about me?
Well, maybe one day you'll feel like telling them. They'll understand. Better than most adults would, I can tell you. Try it, Mr. Prince. There are more than 650,000 one-parent families in Britain. They need all the help they can get. And so do I.
All right. I will. Thank you, Mrs. Francis.
Hello? Hello? Oh. Oh, damn! Gwyneth! Hello? Oh, hello, Clive. No, I've just stopped half the bloody shopping on the floor. No, it's nothing serious. What time will you pick me up tonight? Oh. Oh, I hope it's nothing serious. Yes. Yes, I'll see you on Monday then. Yes, I hope Lady Farmer's feeling better. Yes, goodbye, Clive. Damn, damn, damn. Oh. Hello. Could I speak to Dr. Montague, please? Mrs. Prince. Hello, Richard. No. No, nothing's the matter. No, I promise, not this time. I just wondered if you felt like a spot of lunch. You can't? No, of course it doesn't matter. Oh, you know. Paul's away. Emma's out with Eddie. It's going to stay off. Suddenly the house felt very empty. On top of that, Sir Clive rang to cancel dinner tonight. Oh, his wife fell off one of those horses of hers and hurt her back. Yes. No, I promise. Yes, Richard. Goodbye.
Hello. Too much, are they?
No, they're lovely. Come in.
I was in the area, so I thought I'd drop in and see if you fancied a bit of lunch.
Oh, would you mind coming into the kitchen? I've just dropped half the shopping on the floor. See what I mean?
Oh, scrambled ketchup.
Would you like a cup of coffee, a drink?
Coffee would be nice, too.
All right.
Yeah, let me give you a hand. I don't suppose you get into the kitchen that much. Wouldn't happen to know where you keep the dustpan and brush, would you? Oh. That's the thing about being a bachelor. Get used to doing things like this. I'm always dropping something.
What were you doing in this area? It's not exactly Mayfair.
I thought if I came to your area, I could drop in and see you because I was in your area. Just wanted to say hello.
Hello.
Hello. You, angry? Shocked?
Surprised?
Pleasantly?
I don't know. I think so. Do you take sugar?
2, please. You're very beautiful, do you know that? Don always used to say to me, you must meet my wife. She's the most beautiful woman you ever saw.
Don did? You knew Don?
Not well, but he's pretty good to me. He used to put a bit of business my way. He said I reminded him of himself when he started. I liked him a lot. Admired him, really. He'd already got where I want to go. Do you know what he said when I asked him how he'd done it so fast?
No.
He said it was all down to luck. Luck and a wife who believed in him and pushed him. He had a great respect for your ability.
I didn't know you knew him. Oh, that's...
It's okay.
Mommy, whose car is his?
Yes, darling, this is Mr. Taylor. He's doing some business for us at the office.
Oh, is he going to stay and have lunch?
Are you?
No, thanks. I really ought to be off.
All right.
I hope the meeting with the council goes well on Monday. Will you ring me?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I'll see myself out.
Did you have a nice time on the boat?
It was lovely. Mummy, did Mr. Taylor drop the shopping on the floor?
No. I did.
The fact is, we received, out of the blue, I might say, another bid for Brick End. It comes as much as a surprise to us as it does to you.
But the property's not been on the bloody market, not for months.
Or has it? Unofficially.
Aye.
No, Bill, it is not, and you know it.
Well, I hope you told them what they could do with their offer, Ronnie. Brick End is going to the council. We need the flats. The people need them bad. And no jumped-up fly-by-night outfit's going to deny them.
The company who made the bid are neither jumped up nor fly-by-night. They're respectable property investors.
No such animal exists.
I was under the distinct impression that your council invested in property.
Not for profit.
More's the pity, Wilt. If you did, we'd all pay less rates.
Oh,
Can you tell us who the other bidders are?
I'm afraid not.
The offer is up to scratch, Ronnie. Right price and all that.
Yes, yes.
May I say something?
Pray do, Mrs. Prince. Go right ahead.
All I wanted to say was that it is all our wish at the Prince organisation that the council get these blocks of flats, but we cannot ignore any bona fide offer from wherever it comes, unless and until we are certain the council will conclude the purchase, which you began with my husband, well, more than 6 months ago.
Is it really 6 months?
Yes, Wilf, it is, and now you want another 4 weeks on top of that.
Things happen, Ronnie. Cutbacks in government spending. Sometimes it just isn't possible for us to control everything. Do I take it that the reason you've both come to see us is that you are considering dealing with the other bidder?
Not if the council will give us a definite decision to purchase this afternoon.
This afternoon?
You know very well, Mrs. Prince, that's impossible. No decision can be taken until the full council meets in 4 weeks' time.
Mrs. Prince, let me assure you, good socialist that I am, that the council's doing everything in its power to speed the proper decision. But money's tight. Things take time. Please, give us the 4 weeks we need.
We'd like to, Mr. Gorman, really. But we know about tight money, too. We felt its pressure.
Oh, I know. We heard something about that, didn't we, Bill? Well, what I mean to say is, Since your husband died, Mrs. Prince, your company's had...
Well, this rumour you've heard, Wilf, it wouldn't have anything to do with you delaying your decision, would it? I mean, you'd have a bit of an edge in a forced sale of the blocks, wouldn't you? If the rumour were correct, which it isn't.
The council, this council, doesn't carry on its business like that. The public put it here not to make money, but to provide social justice.
Oh, thank you for putting me straight again, Wilf. I somehow thought you would.
I told you the reason for the delay, Ronnie. The Tenants Association wanted scheduled improvements.
Just a moment. Ronnie knows very well why we had to delay our decision, and so does Mrs. Prince, and I'm sure they both accept it. The question is, where do we go from here?
We intend to sell one block now to the other buyer. We must, Bill. But we'll hold back on selling them the other two until after your meeting. If you can reach a positive decision then, that's fine. If not, we'll sell the second block, then we'll wait again. Does that sound fair?
Sound fair? It does not. Ask people in the flats if it's fair. Ask people who've no place to live if it's fair. Ask the sick and the old if it's fair. I ask me if it's fair, you'll get the same short answer. Not bloody likely it isn't.
As I understand it, Ronnie, you aren't giving us any alternative.
We can't, Bill.
Well, then we haven't got any alternative. We'll let you know our position. Thank you both for coming along.
Cigar. Oh, so. No. Thank you, Sir Clive.
I hope I made it clear how very impressed our people were with your help over the Brickend business.
Yeah, well, it should work out well for everyone.
Taylor, since Don died and I became chairman of the Prince organization, I find myself a little worried about the top-level management of the company.
Yeah, well, can't replace a man like Don Prince, can you? Not just like that, I mean, it takes time.
Bartlett's a wonderful manager, thoughtful, hard-working, all the right things, but he's not an innovator, he's not an entrepreneur, and I think that's what we need.
We didn't have to be with Don about it, did he?
Yes, well, Don is dead, and I believe we need someone who will will be an entrepreneur. And I wondered if you felt you were up to it.
Up to it? I'm up to it, all right. I could promote sunray lamps to the Arabs if I had to.
Would you be interested in working for the Prince organization?
Well, it would depend.
On what?
On what Ronnie and Mrs. Prince thought about the idea.
Oh,
As I see it,
I
anyway.
don't think there'd be any difficulty. I mean, we'd have to tread carefully. No point in upsetting anyone.
I take it you haven't talked to either of them, then. But this is your idea, Sir Clive.
I thought it more sensible to find out if you were interested first, and I take it you are.
I'm interested.
I think Bartlett would welcome the idea. You'd be working under him, of course.
No problem. What about Mrs. Prince? Will she go for it, do you think?
Oh, I'm confident that I can handle Davinia. I think where the company's interests are concerned, she trusts my judgment. Should I have a word with both of them?
Why not?
Then we'd agree.
Absolutely.
I suppose so. He is clever, and we do seem to need someone with Dougie's promotional skills. All right.
Will you talk to him, Clive, or do you want me to?
Well,
As a matter of fact, I'm seeing him later. Shall I?
Yes, very well.
Good, I must go. Oh, Davinia, Wilf Gorman rang to ask you to accept his apologies for talking out of turn the other day. He also said there's a letter on its way to us confirming the purchase of the other 2 blocks. So much for the need for a 4-week delay.
Do you think it was just a try-on?
We'll never know.
I think they'd do something like that, Clive.
Who can say? Not a funny people about these days. Davinia, are you sure you're happy about this offer to Taylor? I don't want you talking to him unless you are.
Yes, I'm sure.
Well, I'm glad the council came through.
Ronnie thinks they were delaying deliberately.
So?
What do you mean, so? You don't expect councils to behave like that?
Who doesn't?
Well, most people wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Darling, the world is full of saints and sinners. Anything is about 1% are saints and the rest are bleeding sinners. It's no different on councils. They're just trying to make the best deal they can.
Well, they ought to be different. They're elected. Anyway, maybe Ronnie was wrong. Maybe the delay was genuine. They didn't know we were in trouble.
Well, they knew, all right.
How?
I told them.
You did?
Well, in a roundabout way. I just dropped them a few facts Bobby Anderson gave me.
I don't believe you.
I needed time to make the sale to my Jersey people, so I had to make the council think they didn't have to hurry. It was in your interest too, you know.
You mean you deliberately did the council out of a block of flats?
Well, only one. I could have had all three if I'd wanted.
How can you claim to be a Labour supporter? It was important to Gorman, to all of them.
You don't get excited. It's a question of priorities. I mean, I have to ask myself, what am I first? A Labour man or a businessman? Well, I'm a businessman, aren't I?
You're a bloody hypocrite.
Not really. I don't pretend to be anything but on the make, do I? Be honest. I'm transparent. It's part of my charm.
I don't believe it. The unacceptable face of socialism.
Well, I know it sounds bad, but like I said, it's all a question of priorities. What comes first? We all have to find that out. You'll have to too, you know.
Was Anderson in on it?
More or less, but all he cared about was unloading his shares, which he did this afternoon.
Scottish and English sold their holding.
That's what I hear.
My God, he used me, didn't he? He set me up.
Well,
He got me to talk to Ronnie to put pressure on the council so Brick End would be sold quickly, our shares would go up. Then he got out of his holding, the sod.
look, everything worked out fine. You got rid of your flats, I got my sale, Bobby Anderson unloaded his shares, and the council got their flats, or most of them, and nobody got hurt. Even the Jersey cows are mooing contentedly.
I made an ass of myself, didn't I?
No.
God, it's a jungle. I had no idea.
You're just not used to the game, that's all. Not a player. You put too much trust in people with different priorities to yours. But if you want to, you'll learn. Do you want to?
Yes, I want to. I have to. Ducky, I was talking to Clive Farmer and Ronnie this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
We were wondering if you'd be interested in joining us, would you?
Darling, I thought you'd never ask.